some reason the GoPro's not working today. It's just not playing. I had it plugged in for quite a while last night, downloading the videos on it, and then I wiped the card, so maybe that's got something to do with it. And today we're out for a bit of a ride along this canal, which is, I think it's part of Utapao Canal. But there is another canal around here somewhere. I'm not sure what canal it is. It's called Klung Thai or Thai Canal, and I've got no idea if that's this one or not. Google Maps wouldn't help either, it wouldn't tell me. Yeah, so today I'm hoping to do a video about expat coming over to paradise and finding a beautiful Thai woman, settling down and living out the remainder of their years over here, which sounds really romantic. And yeah, I mean, this is like a dream of probably a lot of people. Obviously I'm talking about wives here, so obviously I'm talking about guys, but yeah, I mean, women, I'm sure, have this dream as well. But I think women, they sort of see the reality a little bit better than men do. Men get caught up in this idea, and then get blinded by love very often, actually. I mean, in my time I've been over here, I've seen it so many times, and it's really sad to see. These guys, usually middle-aged, often breaking up with their first wife and, having a bit of a rough time in life, and then wanting to start over. So they come over here, and they, everything at the beginning works out really well. They fall in love, head over heels usually, with this beautiful young Thai lady. What a lot of people fail to remember or fail to acknowledge is that cultures are extremely different. They're basically opposites of each other. So the Thai culture is a collectivist culture, and Western culture generally are individualist cultures. Now that's a bit technical. I'll explain what each of those means. So a collectivist culture is where the group, importance is placed on the group, and basically life is about interdependence on other people. Whereas, as we know, I'm certainly myself, I'm from an individualist culture, which is the total opposite of that. We place a lot of value on being an individual. Our independence is extremely important to us, to the extent where, once we lost our independence, we don't really have a lot to live for anymore. If we think about, very old people who go into retirement homes, they basically lose their independence. And, I've heard this before. There's a guy cutting grass over there. Yeah, so this independence, once we've lost that, if we go into a sort of retirement home or somewhere like that, it's basically heaven's waiting room, as I've heard it called before, which is really sad, actually. But over here, this collectivist culture is all about interdependence. As an example, my mother-in-law, she's old and frail now, and there is absolutely no way that she would end up in a care home or an old people's home. Absolutely no way on this earth. Her family and the extended family would never forgive anyone who made that decision to put this person in a care home, because it's expected that the family, certainly the children, take care of that person. In a Western culture, this individualist culture, we don't want other people to be burdened with looking after us. In fact, that would be a shockingly bad thing for us. If we burdened our children with taking care of us in our final years, we just wouldn't want to burden our children with that, because we value their independence as well. Collectivism is something people really don't consider when they think of making a new life over here. And it really is the opposite of Western culture. I mean, there's other dimensions as well. You know, this is just one dimension. Collectivist versus individualist. There's a researcher who spent a lot of his life researching these cultural dimensions. A Dutch guy called Geert Hofstede. And yeah, so he did all this research back in the 70s and 80s about cultural dimensions. And he's pretty well nailed it as far as I'm concerned. You know, he's got these six dimensions. There's collectivism versus individualism, and that's a biggie. To give you an example, you know, this expat, this middle-aged expat comes over, falls head over heels in love with this young Thai girl, and you know, basically, I mean, he can't believe his luck. He's this, you know, old guy with a beer belly and that, and you know, this really beautiful young lady is, you know, telling him all the time, I love you, and he's suckered in, he's believing it. And what she's actually thinking of is long-term stability, not only for herself, but also for her family. You know, so if her parents are still around, you know, she's thinking of stability for them. And they kind of look at foreigners as being rich people, which is fair enough. You know, comparatively we are, compared to their lifestyle. And you know, she's just thinking of stability for the long term. Yeah, collectivism versus individualism. So us humans, you know, we were once a lot wilder, I guess we could say. Wilder, so back in the beginning when we were living in caves and stuff. And this whole cultural concept of collectivism was extremely important back then. You know, we did have to rely on the group, or the tribe, as Hofstede once called it. And yeah, I mean, if you didn't, then yeah, you probably wouldn't survive for very long. You know, with predatory animals maybe hunting us as humans, and other tribes wanting to fight with us. You know, it was pretty tough, I'm sure, back in those days. So yeah, interdependence was essential, not just important, it was essential. You know, so we were up to the early days of human history. And yeah, so yeah, back in those days it was essential to rely on the group, as they would also rely on you. There's a big temple coming up. It's not a temple, a mosque, sorry. This is a Muslim area around here. This is also a Muslim school. Yeah, we were talking about the stage of development that humanity is at the moment. And if we look at Western cultures and Western countries, then you know, they're kind of pretty well developed, and I guess most people would look upon them as being the state of things to come as far as development is concerned. And development of culture is also a factor in that, and we can see that pretty well every Western country is an individualist culture, whereas Asian countries, they're pretty well all collectivist cultures. But we also have to remember the majority of the population of the world are collectivist cultures.